As the doors to the White House press briefing room open, there's something different in the air. Not the usual flash of cameras or the buzz of journalists arguing over policy. Nope. Today, the front rows are filled with kids. Little hands, holding up handmade signs. Wide eyes looking around like they just stepped onto a movie set. Some are in bright school uniforms, some in tiny suits, and one little boy is already raising his hand before anyone said a word. Karoline Leavitt walks out to the podium with the biggest smile on her face. Not the usual polished official one, but the kind you can't fake. She takes a quick look around the room and grins. "Wow," she says, "this might be the smartest-looking press corps I've ever seen." A few kids giggle. One girl proudly holds up a notebook labeled Official Reporter. Karoline points and laughs. "I think I need your help today. You all are the future of America," she says. "One day you'll be the ones asking questions up here, or maybe even standing in my spot." She waves at a group of students in the front row. I see signs that say "We love America," "Go Trump," and even one that says "Free cookies." I think that last one might be for me. She asks for a quick show of hands. Who's here for the very first time? Almost every hand goes up. That's what I thought. Then let's make this a day you'll always remember. A girl from Texas asks the first question. "Are you the president?" Karoline laughs. "Oh no, but I work pretty close with him." That leads into the next part. "So who am I?" she says, then answers her own question with a playful shrug. "I'm Karoline Leavitt, and I'm the White House press secretary. That means my job is to talk to the public and the media, and help share the president's message with the whole country." She looks out at the room again. Think of me like a translator. I take what the president is doing, what he's thinking about, and I explain it in a way that makes sense to everybody. Grown-ups, kids, everyone watching at home. Then she leans in a little, lowering her voice like she's sharing a secret. "But between us, sometimes I also help decide what snacks go out during meetings." The kids laugh again. Spoiler alert, he really likes Starbursts. She tells them a few fun facts about herself. "I'm from New Hampshire. I've got a little baby boy at home. I used to work in TV before this, and yes, I've met the president probably more times than I can count." One boy blurts out, "Is he nice?" Karoline smiles. "He's more than nice. He listens, he jokes, and yes, he knows all your names from the guest list today." She takes a sip of water, sets her notes aside, and looks out at the room full of young faces. "All right, you've met me. You're sitting in the most famous press room in the world. Now let's get to your questions. If you're having fun, hit subscribe so you never miss a moment inside the White House." After all the laughing and introductions, Karoline Leavitt gets a little more serious but still keeps her voice light and clear. "Okay," she says, "you're probably wondering, what does the president actually do all day?" She picks up a bright red folder and waves it playfully. "This morning, President Trump worked on something we call a bill. Not like a dollar bill, but a big, important plan that could help people all across the country." A few of the kids tilt their heads, so she pauses and explains. "Think of a bill like a big list of ideas," she says. "Let's say you and your friends want to make your school better. You might write down more sports, healthier lunches, new books. That list is kind of like a bill. It says what you want to do, why it's important, and how you'll get it done." Then she holds up a big poster showing pictures, one of a smiling family, one of a farm, and one of a strong-looking building with an American flag. "This bill the president worked on is about helping American families. It would give support to parents, protect jobs, and make sure our communities are strong and safe." She adds, "It's called the American Strength Act. That's not just a name, it's a promise. The president believes our country is safest when our families are taken care of, and that's what this bill is about." A boy in the back raises his hand. "Does he write it by himself?" Karoline shakes her head with a smile. "No way. He works with smart people in Congress. They go back and forth with ideas, kind of like when you work on a group project. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't. But the president leads the way." Then she changes gears. "Now," she says, "you want to know what's next?" Karoline leans toward the microphone with a bit more energy. Later today, the president has a very important meeting in the Oval Office. That's the famous room where big decisions happen. She holds up another photo, this time of President Trump sitting across from a man in a uniform full of medals. This is General Carter. He's meeting with the president to talk about keeping our country safe. Generals are like real-life superheroes, she says, but instead of capes, they wear these. She points to the medals. Each one means something brave they've done. The kids stare at the picture, clearly impressed. Karoline keeps going. They're talking about how to protect America from threats overseas. That means stopping bad guys before they can do anything dangerous. She pauses and looks around. I know that sounds a little scary, but don't worry. This is exactly why we have a strong military and smart leaders. The president always wants to make sure our troops have what they need. This meeting is about giving them more tools, more training, and better support. A girl near the front asks, "Can we go in the Oval Office?" Karoline smiles. Not today, but maybe someday. For now, I promise to bring back some photos. She ends the update with a final thought. The president's day might be packed, but everything he does is for you. That's why it's called public service, because it's all about serving the people. The podium suddenly feels a little shorter and the questions a little more unexpected. Karoline grins as a group of kids, each holding a note card and, trying not to giggle, step up to the microphone in the White House press briefing room. All right, she says, you're the reporters today. Let's hear what you've got. The first boy, maybe 8 years old, clears his throat seriously. What's President Trump's favorite snack? Laughter bubbles up in the room. Karoline thinks for a moment. Great question. He really likes cheeseburgers and he always asks for extra ketchup. That gets a few cheers and one girl makes a funny face. He eats that every day. Karoline laughs. Not every day, but let's just say, often. Another child asks, does the president have a pet? Karoline shakes her head gently. Not right now, but I've heard he likes dogs. Maybe one will move in before long. She leans in and adds, but if you ask me, I think we should get a cat too. Then a little girl in a pink dress asks, what would President Trump do if aliens came? The room bursts into surprised laughter, and Karoline plays along. Well, she says, pausing dramatically. First, he'd ask them if they believe in freedom. Then he'd probably invite them to a rally. Everyone laughs again, and Karoline adds, he'd make sure they followed our laws first. Even space visitors need passports. More questions follow, and Karoline takes each one seriously, because to these kids, every question matters. Someone asks how the president chooses what to wear. Another wonders if he has ever been late to work. Karoline answers with humor but honesty. He has a lot of suits, and no, he's usually early because he starts before sunrise. She makes sure the kids know their curiosity is powerful. Every reporter in here started by asking great questions, just like you're doing now, she says. You don't have to wait until you're grown up to start caring about your country. At one point, she steps away from the podium and lets a boy named Eli stand in her spot. Go ahead, she says. You're press secretary now. E stares out at the cameras and says, pizza should be free for everyone. The room explodes in cheers and claps. Karoline laughs and says, okay, I'll pass that along to the president. The whole room feels brighter, filled with energy, laughter, and the sound of kids realizing that this place, this building they've only seen on TV, is actually theirs too. Karoline wraps it up with a final message. You all did amazing, she says. And one day maybe I'll be sitting where you are asking you the questions. If you're smiling right now, hit that subscribe button and come along with us for more days like this inside the White House. After all the fun, the kids get curious about what it's really like to work at the White House every day. Karoline takes a moment to explain in a way that's easy to understand. She starts by saying, working here means a lot of responsibility. Every day we have to make sure the president's message gets out clearly and that people understand what's happening in the country. She explains that her job isn't just talking on TV, it's also listening to what people say, reading lots of news, and helping solve problems. A little boy raises his hand and asks if it's hard to do the job while also having a family. Karoline smiles and says, it can be tricky, but I'm lucky to have my family close by. My baby and my parents help me stay balanced. She tells them how important it is to have people you can count on, especially when work gets busy. It's okay to ask for help, she adds. Another question comes from a girl who wants to know if Karoline ever feels scared or nervous in such a big role. Karoline answers honestly, "Sometimes I do, but I remind myself that I'm here to help and that I can learn every day. It's okay to be nervous, it just means you care." Someone asks about the president's favorite room in the White House. Karoline laughs and says, "He loves the Oval Office. It's where he makes big decisions and meets important people. It's also got beautiful gold decorations. He's very proud of it." The kids want to know what Karoline's favorite part of the job is. She says, "I love moments like today, when I get to meet curious kids and answer their questions. It reminds me why this job is so special." Finally, a thoughtful question comes up. What advice would you give to kids who want to work in government one day? Karoline thinks for a moment and says, "Work hard, be kind, and never stop asking questions. The world needs your ideas and your voice." She wraps up this part by encouraging all the kids to believe in themselves and to keep dreaming big. You never know where life will take you. Maybe one day, one of you will be the press secretary, or even president. After the serious stuff, Karoline shifts gears to the fun part, the kids' lighter questions that bring smiles and laughs all around. She welcomes these playful questions as a chance to show a different side of life at the White House. A little girl asks if President Trump likes to give hugs. Karoline laughs softly and says, "Yes, he loves hugs. He gives lots of hugs to children and his family, and even to the First Lady." The kids giggle and some pretend to hug the air. Then a boy wants to know what the president's favorite food is. Karoline says, "He really loves steak. Big, beautiful steaks. He enjoys them a lot." Another child chimes in, "I like steak, too," and everyone nods. The questions keep coming. Someone asks about ice cream. Karoline smiles and shares, "The president likes ice cream sundaes with chocolate sauce and toppings. Raise your hand if you like ice cream sundaes." Many hands go up quickly. A curious kid wonders if the president has any superpowers. Karoline says with a grin, "If he did, it would probably be snapping his fingers and solving problems right away. That would be pretty cool, right? But sometimes it takes a bit longer to get things done." Another question about travel comes up. Does the president leave the country often? Karoline explains simply, "Not every week, but he recently went on a long trip to the Middle East, to places like Qatar and Saudi Arabia. It was an important trip." Someone asks about pets, and Karoline admits there aren't any pets living in the White House right now, except the Secret Service dogs that help keep everyone safe. The kids love hearing about the dogs. Lastly, a child asks what Karoline's favorite country she's visited is. She talks about traveling and studying in Italy, then shares how much she enjoyed visiting the Middle East recently. "Every country has something special," she says. Throughout these fun questions, Karoline's warm and easy way of speaking makes the kids feel at home. They laugh and ask more, enjoying the chance to learn about the White House in a relaxed way. After the serious stuff, Karoline shifts gears to the fun part, the kids' lighter questions that bring smiles and laughs all around. She welcomes these playful questions as a chance to show a different side of life at the White House. A little girl asks if President Trump likes to give hugs. Karoline laughs softly and says, "Yes, he loves hugs. He gives lots of hugs to children and his family and even to the First Lady." The kids giggle and some pretend to hug the air. Then a boy wants to know what the president's favorite food is. Karoline says, "He really loves steak. Big, beautiful steaks. He enjoys them a lot." Another child chimes in, "I like steak, too," and everyone nods. The questions keep coming. Someone asks about ice cream. Karoline smiles and shares, "The president likes ice cream sundaes with chocolate sauce and toppings. Raise your hand if you like ice cream sundaes." Many hands go up quickly. A curious kid wonders if the president has any superpowers. Karoline says with a grin, "If he did, it would probably be snapping his fingers and solving problems right away. That would be pretty cool, right? but sometimes it takes a bit longer to get things done. Another question about travel comes up. Does the president leave the country often? Karoline explains simply. Not every week, but he recently went on a long trip to the Middle East, to places like Qatar and Saudi Arabia. It was an important trip. Someone asks about pets, and Karoline admits there aren't any pets living in the White House right now, except the Secret Service dogs that help keep everyone safe. The kids love hearing about the dogs. Lastly, a child asks what Karoline's favorite country she's visited is. She talks about traveling and studying in Italy, then shares how much she enjoyed visiting the Middle East recently. Every country has something special, she says. Throughout these fun questions, Karoline's warm and easy way of speaking makes the kids feel at home. They laugh and ask more, enjoying the chance to learn about the White House in a relaxed way. Don't miss out on more fun inside the White House. Hit subscribe now and stay with us for more cool stories. As the questions start to slow down, Karoline looks around the room with a big smile. She says, "Thank you all so much for being here today and for asking such great questions. It's really wonderful to see so many curious and smart kids. You truly are the future of this country." You can tell she means it. The room feels warm and happy, like everyone's part of something important. She talks a little about how special today is. Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day is a chance for you to see what happens here at the White House. It's where people work hard every day to make this country a better place. She says it in a way that makes you feel proud, like you're part of a big team trying to do good. Karoline shares a personal story too. She says, "I'm also a mom, and sometimes it's hard to balance work and family. But I've learned that with help from my family and friends, it's possible to do both. If you want something, you just have to work hard and believe in yourself." The kids listen closely. This part feels real and important. Before she finishes, Karoline asks everyone to wave and say goodbye together. There's lots of smiles and laughter as the kids wave their hands high. "Remember," she says, "keep asking questions and learning new things. You're going to do amazing things one day, and we can't wait to see it."